They take us for fools. The artifact you brought back from the pyramid began emitting a signal, one that reaches deep into the Black Garden. Once again, we are beckoned into their trap. They expect us to follow the signal, to discover where it leads. Fine. We will play their games, but this time with caution, not curiosity.
I can't do anything.
Can we get serious now?
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents, boys and girls, guardians of all ages? It is I, Aaron, here with a video on one of Destiny 2's raids, Garden of Salvation. And to get right down to the point, let's start with the first encounter. So, the boss, the Consecrated Mind, what a silly name, I know, is running, floating. What is this thing even doing?
2 hours later.
It'll be immune to damage at first, but it'll roam the arena and put down glowing cubes. Every time you collect one, you'll get a voltaic overflow buff. You mustn't take more than one, or you'll die. Leave it on the ground, and you and your whole squad will die. To progress, create a chain from the floating cube to the blue barrier. If the connection turns red, you're too far away from the source or each other. If you do it right, it'll open up the barrier. You'll go through 3 rooms before you make it to the end of the encounter. The last section doesn't have a door, but you'll have to run through a gauntlet with a bunch of enemies, and the Consecrated Mind running away from you, spawning debuff cubes you have to pick up. After all of that, the encounter is over, and you get the loot, which are a fusion rifle and a bow, which are actually pretty good. And it's time to draw out the Consecrated Mind with a long tether puzzle. Tether to the tower, to the cube, and you'll get the Enlightened buff. It'll let you kill the enemies with white shields. A bunch of enemies will appear and try to attack the tower, so you'll need to defend it. There are 4 such towers across the map. Think like a baseball field of sorts. And once you activate the first tower, split up and have part of the team rush towards the second one. Once you've activated the first tower and activated the second tower, a portal will appear connecting the first tower to the second. You'll need to do this with all 4 towers, but as you progress, you'll have more and more teams with fewer and fewer people. You'll normally be split up like 2-2-2 out of 6. And some will have to rotate, helping others refresh their buffs when they need it. And when you clear all 4, the gates will open, allowing you to go into the center. You'll have to defend a single tower from an onslaught of enemies there, and once you do, the last cube will spawn. When you tether to it, the boss will appear. Don't stand in the middle or he will kill you. And now it's time for a little elevator music transition thing. Yeah. And once you summon the Consecrated Mind, you'll need to take it down for good. Once again, you need to break your party into 2 separate teams. The first team needs to follow the boss around as it travels from location to location. It'll drop the square debuff-like cube you saw in the first encounter, but this time it'll imprison the player that picks it up. The imprisoned player needs to pay attention to the boss's eyes. Only they can see which ones are lit up and which aren't. All players need to shoot all 3 of the lit up eyes at the exact same time. The second team is more moat focused. Players need to defeat large minotaurs in the area, and the minotaurs drop 5 motes each. One of the moat team members needs to collect the motes and run them to the lit up base. They'll then deposit the motes and defend the area from the Vex until another mote collector makes the run. The fire team needs to repeat this process until the tower has 30 motes deposited, which will draw the boss for the damage phase. And now it's time for the big baddie himself, the Sanctified Mind. There are two towers in this fight, an orange tower and a blue tower. If you look at the boss, you'll notice he has two red lights. Those are his weak spots. Shoot them and two portals will appear in front of him. Jump through them and kill enemies to collect motes. Once another player spawns a new portal and enters it, you'll be booted back to the arena. Make it so that when you leave, you have 10 motes. You can't carry any more than that. You can then deposit the motes into the towers. The rest of the team has to protect the towers from the Vex. If they get to them, they'll sacrifice and you'll die. The two picking up the motes will get the Enlightened buff. They should stay behind in the next round and use the buff to kill the shielded enemies. You can tether to the towers to the locks behind them to return the platforms the boss destroys. Once you've banked enough motes in both towers, a glowing cross will appear in front of the boss. Tether to the appropriate tower, orange to orange or blue to blue, and the boss will enter the damage phase. Literally throw everything you have and nuke the boss. Then repeat the process. Keep in mind, even you can damage him even before he floats up. It is a big help. And once he's up, aim for the weak spot in his stomach. If you execute the damage phase correctly and your aim is true, you should need more than 2 to 4 damage phases to finish him off. And with that, guys, thank you for watching my wacky and zany video. It took a really long time to make, and I'm very proud of it despite the cringe. Oh, the cringe. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ka-chow.